Hello, good day everyone. My name is Reno Bibita Patino, a third-year student of Cavite State University, Ponte Vedra campus, taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English. So before, in these past days, we discussed and talk about also the constructive criticism, and we also able to deconstruct a poem. Now, in this video, we are going again to deconstruct a poem entitled Road Not Taken by Robert Frost and explain why do this poem shows the constructive criticism. So, let's get started. So, the poem Road Not Taken by Robert Frost shows the constructive criticism in a sense that it uses binary opposition. When we say binary opposition, these are two concepts that are not related to each other. So, um, in a nutshell, these are two concepts that are not the same. So, the central conflict or the binary opposition in Robert Frost's poem, Road Not Taken, is conformity versus nonconformity. The fundamental conceptual foundation of the text is based on this binary opposition. The nonconformity, or choosing the less troubled path, is the ideal course of action for leading a better life. Although the two paths there in the poem are essentially the same, the poem's underlying theme that choosing the path of nonconformity is the greatest option, which leads Frost to convince himself that one is different from the other, and one is more accurate than the other, and has made all difference. It's common for us to believe that we are being independent, free, and original because that are associated with these qualities. But Frost makes the point in the poem that this is all just an act of self-pity and non-conformity, which is vital for us to have a better life. As the narrator of the poem, for instance, comes to a road and must choose between the two paths there, he acknowledged that both of them are just fair and the same, and that others passing by have warned them really about the same, and that both of them are equally lame before making a decision. So he think first. However, he tried to convince himself that the two roads were different, and he tried to justify his choice that he is right and to make it appear as though he picked the harder but more rewarding one. But he truly could not find any difference between the two paths that he stood. Yet by the poem's conclusion, the narrator persuaded himself that he made the right decision by asserting that he chose the route less taken, and that has made all difference. Faust used the narrator in his poem to demonstrate how deeply ingrained the idea of nonconformity is in society, and how it is better to convince yourself and others that you have gone a more difficult and original route than to admit that you are ordinary and are simply following in the footsteps of countless others, and get humiliated for of admitting that you didn't do anything particularly interesting, original, and different from others. This illustration and challenge of the artifice of the ideology of nonconformity as the privileged binary opposition was done by Frost. Further, another binary opposition that we can see in this poem of Robert Frost is temporality versus permanence. The narrator is already aware that he can only select one course of action, and he cannot go back and take the alternate course or the another path there. Even though the narrator is aware of this, he attempts to convince himself that he can always turn around and walk in the opposite direction. He is therefore striving to give himself the impression that his choices are permanent, so that if they don't work out for him, he can always go back and choose the different course. Although it is true that decision made in life can always be changed, it is impossible to travel back in time and reverse a choice, since the experiences, feelings, one had at the time, and the moment itself cannot be relived or cannot be repeated. The narrator claims that at the poem's conclusion that his choice to take one path over another has made all the difference. He wouldn't have known though if he hadn't even attempted to take the alternate route. We humans like to assume that we have made the right decisions in life based on our lives right now. But we can't honestly say so because we can't go back in time and experience all the possible choices and experience the possible outcomes to effectively evaluate whether or not we have in fact made the right selections or decisions in life. The narrator therefore exemplifies the false idea that we may not only make accurate claims about the appropriateness of the life decision we have made, but also that we have the ability to reverse those decisions if they turn out to be unfavorable, unfavorable or not good for us. We can change that. So that would be all for today's video. I hope you have learned something about the reasons why the poem Road Not Taken by Robert Frost can be considered as a form of can be take part or can be evaluated using the constructive criticism. That would be all for today. Thank you so much and hope to see you again.